India, Russia, China, Brazil and South Africa form one of the world's most important economic blocs. The BRICS Heads of State and Government Summit in South Africa's Johannesburg seeks to widen its influence and push for a shift in global geopolitics. Russia is being represented by Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, with President Vladimir Putin participating online. And there's a strong buzz of a possible meeting between Indian PM Modi and Xi Jinping. In recent years, the border between China and India has become the site of growing tensions. Chinese aggression has sparked clashes along the mostly rugged mountainous border known as the line of actual control. Amid Xi Jinping's irrational territorial ambitions, both sides have been increasingly militarised in their border policies and show no indication of backing down. The situation on the border remains tense due to China's violation of norms. Beijing and New Delhi are hardening their positions on either side of the line of actual control. India's firm, peace and tranquility in border areas is essential. New Delhi says it's fully prepared and committed to protecting sovereignty and dignity. India's National Security Advisor, Ajit Doval, is accompanying the Prime Minister Modi on the South Africa visit. Putin decided against attending in person as he is the target of an international criminal court arrest warrant that South Africa is, in theory, bound to enforce. BRICS was founded as an informal club in 2009 to provide a platform for its members to challenge a world order dominated by the US and its Western allies. Its creation was initiated by Russia. Well, for more on this, we'll go over to our correspondent, Calden Ogmu, in Pretoria, South Africa. Calden, good to see you. You're outside the Union building in Pretoria. The Chinese President Xi is going to be meeting South African President Ramaphosa. What's expected for that meeting?
Oliver, you're absolutely right. I'm standing here just outside Union Buildings, just outside the amphitheatre, in fact, the administrative capital, Pretoria. Any moment from now, President Xi Jinping and President Cyril Ramaphosa is about to walk in here. I'm just going to step out of the frame so that my cameraman Niraj can just give you details of what's happening outside. The officers are ready for 21-gun salute, as well as there's Chinese diaspora here to welcome President Xi Jinping. But what we do know is when President Cyril Ramaphosa and Chinese President meets at the Union Buildings, they are going to discuss energy infrastructure, trade, investment, and also support for South Africa's economy recovery. These are some of the issues that's likely to be discussed. We also know that important documents and MOUs are going to be signed today on economy, trade, science and technology. You must remember this is President Xi's fourth official visit to South Africa in the last 5 years. And this comes as the two countries celebrate the 25th anniversary of the establishment of the diplomatic relations between them. South Africa has been China's largest trading partner in Africa for the last 134 years straight. And same goes for South Africa as well. You know, volume-wise, China is the largest global trading partner of South Africa. Both the countries, they enjoy vibrant economic relations, and and the two countries together, they say that they will be able to invest a lot in each other's country. But you know what is important is to remember that China is a very important investor actually for South Africa, and they provide a lot of support in important infrastructure development projects which are instrumental in South Africa's job creation. These are the live visuals we are just bringing you from outside the Union Buildings. Like I said earlier, Oliver, any moment from now, President Xi Jinping and President Cyril Ramaphosa is likely to walk here.
There are indications that she could also meet India's PM Modi on the sidelines of the summit. What are you picking up on that story?
So definitely that's another meeting that everybody has the eyes and ears open for. President Narendra Modi is on his way to South Africa. He hasn't landed as yet, and we haven't gotten any confirmation as yet from the Indian side on whether or not there will be bilateral meetings between the two countries. However, if you remember a few days back, a top Chinese diplomat in a press briefing to media did say that he hinted, in fact, that there will be bilateral between India and China. And if you remember going back to July when there was an NSA meeting, India's Doval actually spoke to WION exclusively, stating that, Chinese and India are working on the diplomatic relations. They're also working to resolve all the border issues. They're expediting the manners in which they are going to, they're trying to resolve this border issue as well. So we're just waiting as the time goes by. I think we will get a confirmation from India's side as well. Like I said, the Chinese have confirmed that they would love to have a bilateral meeting with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, but it's only if, there will be a meeting. But if there is one, it's going to be a very big deal.
Calden, just stay with us for a second. We're now going to go to our other correspondent, Alison Lagrange, joining us live from Sandton, South Africa, to get us more on this developing story. Tell us about the mood on the ground where Modi's about to address the Indian diaspora.
Absolutely, Oliver. Yes, I'm standing in Sandton in Johannesburg, South Africa, just in front of the Sandton Sun Hotel, where any minute Prime Minister Modi is expected to arrive. He will be coming here to address the members of the Indian diaspora. Now, everyone is very excited. There is a very strong sentiment around Prime Minister Modi here. People have traveled from India. They have traveled from every corner of the country and from neighboring countries as well, all to see Prime Minister Modi. Now, there is a lot of opportunity between the two countries. I have spoken with a few of the guests, members of the Indian diaspora, and a senior member of the Indian consulate from Durban. They are all very eager to hear what Prime Minister Modi has to say. Some people dressed in Indian attire, a lot of excitement here on the ground.
Alison Lagrange, many thanks for joining us. We'll go back to our correspondent, Calden Ogmu, who's in Pretoria. And Calden, just give us a sense of the growing significance of this BRICS event, because it's going to be a record number of leaders attending this year, isn't it?
Yes, so far the confirmation we have got is the 46 heads of state, including 30 from the African countries. There are some from the Caribbean. There are some from Asia, South America as well. So this is one of the largest BRICS gathering. South Africa has invited these African leaders
OK, well, I think we've lost Calden Ogmu there. She was joining us from Pretoria, South Africa. We'll hope to get her back, but we'll move on to our next story. The BRICS summit comes as the bloc seeks geopolitical significance. Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa will discuss club expansion during their annual meeting in Johannesburg, currently underway. But in over 2 decades, the BRICS bloc has nothing really substantial to show for. The bloc held its first summit in 2008, with Brazil, India and China the first members. All 4 countries initially performed well. South Africa joined in 2011. In the first decade, China's economy grew by 176%, India's 110%, Russia's 60%, Brazil's 47% and South Africa's 41%. Russia, Brazil and South Africa have struggled economically ever since. They increased output by 13%, 7% and 12% respectively from 2010 to 2022. China and India advanced slowly. The group is now grossly imbalanced. China's output at $19 trillion is 50 times that of South Africa's. Undeterred, the BRICS are now talking about adding new letters. Developing countries are understandably resentful that rich countries haven't addressed their needs. But the Global South won't get much from a club whose leading members are China, which is throwing its weight around in the region, and Russia, a near pariah state. Despite annual meetings, the BRICS have accomplished little so far. The 2015 New Development Bank was a multilateral lender, but its history is it approved only $33 billion in projects. In comparison, the World Bank committed $104 billion in 2022 alone. The question that needs to be answered is, would expansion make it worthwhile and contribute more to the bloc's ambitions for geopolitical and economic significance? Another theory floating around is that the Global South Club offers membership to neutral countries whose economic output is bigger than South Africa's $400 billion. Then Mexico, Indonesia, Argentina, Thailand, Nigeria, Vietnam, Malaysia, the Philippines and Bangladesh could join. 6 of them are G20 big economies. The 12 letters wouldn't fit into a catchy acronym, but the new club would have a greater chance than the BRICS of finding a function in creating a new world order.